welcome to my video. This one's going to be on how to add a 3D model to your a 3D render, a 3D model of your house to your xLights layout. So I have another video on this that's quite a bit longer. That's a lot more details. I'm going to call this one a TLDR video. I had intended on making the original video only about 10 minutes long, but when I got done, after everything else that I didn't need, it was like 45 minutes long. So there's a lot of steps to this if you really want to see everything happen in real time. This video is not going to be that. This video is going to be, hey, here's the pieces you need. Go look it up. Go watch my other videos. So this is the TLDR. So I'm going to show you kind of why we're going to do it, and then all the pieces that you need to do it, and that's it. So if you have any questions, hit me up in the chat or go watch the other video. Check the links in the description to go back and forth about that. So let's get into it. So what you see over here is really, this is kind of what my layout looks like. Well, a lot of us are kind of like this, I think, where we have xLights layout. We're already actually using 3D mode because we want some depth to it. But maybe we're not doing this with a ruler. We're not doing it with like accurate dimensions. We're not doing it with a real model of our house. I've seen some people use 3D models. I've seen some people use just 2D pictures or Google Maps aerial layouts. And so I decided I wanted to have an actual 3D render of my house on there. I knew it's possible because I've seen people do it. So I started looking into it, and I'm making these videos kind of after now. So this is kind of what I started doing. So I guessed, if you look at this, what we'll see in the end is actually I was pretty close. Just sort of guessing on the ratios and proportions of things. I actually got everything close enough to make a good show, but definitely it's not accurate. And that was my goal. I want to make this turn into this. I want to have a 3D render of my house that is dimensionally accurate. I want to have all my props and everything be positioned exactly where they actually are. I'm going to use the Google aerial view so that I can see that those trees, these 3D rendered trees, actually sit where they appear to take up space in the aerial view. I want everything to be pretty close to where it really is. And the main reason I'm doing this, I haven't mentioned it already, the main reason I'm doing this is because, one, it's great to have all these things be dimensionally accurate, but I have trees in my yard that are actually a hindrance to people looking at my show. So I want to be able to have a 3D view, a 3D perspective of my show where I can see things from the angle the viewer would see things and say, hey, this tree, if I leave my mega tree right there, this tree is kind of blocking the top of it. I need to move something. I need to trim the tree. I need to move the mega tree, do something so that the ideal viewing position, which is right here, actually sees everything. And I don't waste space putting props over here because you can't see that. There's a tree blocking you. I don't waste space putting my tree over here and blocking this like that. So that's why I'm doing it. This is my goal I want to give. So what do we need to do this? We need really just a few things. We need a service called Hover. That's not the one. So Hover is a free service if you set your account up as a residential personal use. And basically that's all you really need to know is go to Hover.to, the link in the description. You need to create an account, select residential or property owner, and then once you've done that, you create a project. And you need to do this actually through an iOS app. I'll put a link to that as well. You can create the account through the website and you can view the results in the website, but to create the project, you have to do that through your iOS app, because when you create that project, after you've created your account and logged in, it's going to walk you through very well. It's going to walk you through the steps of taking the photos, uploading the project. So it's going to take 8 photos of your house, 3 of the front, 3 of the back, and 1 of each side. You're going to upload that. It's going to take about overnight probably. The next day, you'll get a notification that your render is ready, and you'll get something like this. Model. This shows me that the photos that were taken, they aren't great. I didn't take great photos. I don't have the ability to get straight on photos that are unobstructed. Just do your best, and you'll end up getting something like this, a 3D render of your house. If you want to dig into, it'll look good out of the box, but if you want to dig into changing the color of things, like maybe the color of the brick's not right, the roof's not right, the color of the pillar's not right, whatever, you can click on those things. You can walk through stepping through this stuff. This video is not about how to use Hover, just to use Hover to get the 3D model. Once you've got the 3D model, let's say I'm happy with this exactly like it is. All right. Go back over here, go down to chat. We'll actually be able to see my conversation from when I did this. You're going to ask the Hover people to send you the OBJ file or the SketchUp file. If you just want to have a 3D render of your house and you don't want to add anything to it, like let's say like in your example, you don't care about trees or anything in the yard. You just want the 3D render of your house, and you don't care that the textures are there, like the brick and the shingle. You're okay with it just being a gray kind of version of the 3D render of your house. Then ask them for the OBJ file. They'll send that to you, and you can skip all the SketchUp steps. Now, if you want the textures and you want to add things like trees or bushes or something that might actually change the perspective of the show, then ask for the SketchUp file, the SKP. I wanted that. I needed to put those trees in there. So I asked them for that. I said, hey, I did this at 2 in the morning and I appear to, unless it's the best bot I've ever used, I appear to got a real person at 2 in the morning. I basically said, hey, I've got this is my job ID. I'm trying to do a 3D layout for a Christmas slideshow. I was told you guys would do this for free. Can you send me the SketchUp file? Yes, of course. Within seconds, they said, yes, of course. Here's the file. I downloaded it. I saved that file into a folder in the shows folder. So I've got my SKP. That's step 1. Hover, get your SKP. Then we're going to move over to SketchUp. SketchUp is a service where is a paid service, but you can use it with a 7-day trial. And you can use it for free until the time you want to export it. The reason we're using SketchUp is I want to add things into my model, and then I want to export the OBJ. For free, I can open the SKP, and I can add things to my 3D model. But I can't export it for free. I have to sign up for the 7-day trial, or I have to actually pay for the service. 7 days is good for me. So you're going to come into SketchUp, again, look up how to do this. You're going to import your SKP into a SketchUp design. And then it's going to look, the house portion will look something like this. SketchUp's a little bit of a weird tool to use. It's not as obvious, in my opinion, as some of the other 3D tools. But basically, you can figure this out. You bring your house in. If you want to bring some trees in, you go over to 3D Warehouse, search for tree, something like this. I'm not going to do all this things. I'm going to make this a quick video. I'm going to search for tree, find a tree that looks kind of like what I want. I think I picked maybe this one. Yeah, this one. You're going to click on that tree, and you're going to hit download, and that's going to drop the tree into your design. And when you do that, you're going to have to use these tools over here, the select tool, and the move tool, and the scale tool. You're going to use those 3 tools to be able to move your tree so it sits wherever it's supposed to sit. The other thing I'll say is that if you want, like I have, if you want to have the Google Maps aerial view, that's not default something. You have to go do that as well. So you go over to maps.google, zoom in on your house. I just basically zoomed in on my house. I screen capped this whole section that contains where my Christmas lights go, basically everything from the fence forward. I just screen grabbed that into an image. I put that into my show folder, and then I come over to SketchUp, and you go File, Import from my device, find that image. So it's in my shows folder, show Christmas. Shows, I have a folder for 3D models. I select this image. I'm not going to do it again. That's going to drop it in. Again, I'm going to have to position it. I'm going to have to rotate it. I'm going to have to scale it to get that image to sit underneath the house and for that image to be sized correctly so that when you look down on it, you see like just the edges of the foundation of the house. That makes sure that the sidewalk, the landscape, and everything is close enough that I can use those to get my outlines and stuff in Photoshop. And that's pretty much everything we do in SketchUp. Once we have SketchUp where we're happy with what we see, then we go here, export OBJ. OBJ is what xLights means. So I'm going to export the OBJ. That's going to create this. That's going to create this house 3D hover export.obj. It's a zip file. I'm going to extract that. Sorry, it's here. It's going to export this zip file. And again, remember, you have to have an account. So you have to do the 7-day trial to export the OBJ. A lot of people will say, just go out on one of the xLights Facebook forums and ask someone who has SketchUp, because a lot of people use it, if they'll do it for you. You can send them your SKP file. They can send you the OBJ. That's fine too. But yeah, you need to get this OBJ. It's going to export the zip. I'm going to extract that. And that's going to create this folder because there's textures and stuff in here. And then I'm going to remember that I put this OBJ file here. Now we're done with SketchUp. So now we need to go to xLights. And I'm going to come here. And I'm going to go into the 3D objects. And there's really two things we have to do here to get the full benefit of this. One, we need to bring in the 3D render. And then two, we need to set the ruler up so that we can identify a known dimension. And so the easiest way to do that is, say I'm going to bring in 3D objects. I'm going to go add object, bring a mesh in. That's going to be my OBJ. Let's select the object file. Shows 3D models. Obj file, open. And then I'm going to move this wherever I want it. It's not really the point of this video, but let's move it just a little bit. Move it back. Now, if I really wanted to make this house match up with those lines, just so I have to do a little less editing down when I start to move stuff, I'd want to scale the house and everything. So I can scale this 3D model just like any other prop in xLights. I'm not going to do that right now. But let's say I have the house pretty much where I want it. And now I'm going to say, okay, I know. So that's step one. Bring your 3D model in, get it scaled and moved wherever you want. But then I'm going to say, let's add another object. Let's add the ruler. Okay, figure out where to put the ruler. Send that good. Oh, there it is. You see other things. See if I can do this stuff. Okay. Now what I need to do is line the ruler up with something where I know what its dimension is. I know that the dimension of that window is 36 inches. So I'm going to line the ruler up at the right depth. Now I'm going to click on the edge. Move that in to the white frame. Put that in. Move it to the white frame. And then I'm going to set the units of this to inches and the real length to 36. I know that that dimension that I just set is 36 inches. So now, when I go to the rest of the objects in my design, let's say I want to set the height of these candy canes. I go to one of these candy canes. I gotta switch back to the models. I know this candy cane's dimensions are 15 wide by 36 tall. I notice it shrink. Now, proportionally compared to my house, it's much closer to how it actually is in real life. I do the same for my snowflakes. I know this snowflake is a 36 inch by 36 inch snowflake. I'm going to set that. Depth doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go to all these props, and I'm going to use my skills with xLights. That's not really what we're talking about. We can use those, resize and scale and select on all that stuff and positioning and alignment. And I'm going to use that to move everything to where it belongs relative to the new size of my house. And I can use the dimensions of the objects and real tape measure dimensions in real life now because I've set the ruler up as well. So that's it. So once you get done, you'll have something like this, where everything is where it's supposed to be, close enough. When you render it, this is going to be much more representative of how things are actually going to look. When you sit down here at the perspective of where your users are, you can see, hey, that's the perspective. My tree is just close enough. That snowflake is just underneath that tree, so I'm good there. Like, this is exactly what I want to see. When I take my videos, I take it from this position. And I can see all my key drops. So that's all for this video. Again, this was the TLDR video, so I went through it really fast. We talked about Hover, SketchUp, xLights, the mesh, the ruler, exported to an OBJ, which are really all the key pieces to doing this. If you want to actually see it all happen and actually see me scale some things and rotate and move things around and drop the files and export all that stuff, then look for the other video, the non-TLDR video. It's like 45 minutes long. But hopefully this was helpful. And let me know if you like this TLDR video. So I don't know, I'm pretty wordy on most of my videos, so they're usually all a little longer than I think most people will hear. I'll also put chapters in this, and I'll put chapters in the long videos so that you can jump to what you want to see. But hopefully this was helpful. see you on the next video.